Radhe Radhe Govinda Govinda Radhe 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 Govinda Govinda Radhe.
So Srimati Radhika came herself to Narottam Das Thakur and said, "Your eternal service will be to make milk for my Pranavallabha when he comes to my kunj at midday. This service is also rendered by my dear Saki Champakalata, and therefore I will call you Champaka Manjari." So this is very special. We see here that he is the eternal Nitya Manjari of Srimati Radhika. So he went to his Sri Guru, Lokanath Goswami, and told him that what happened. And he was so happy. He was so happy and gave confirmation. Sometimes we have some visions or some feelings, and then we go to Sri Guru or our dear brothers and sisters, and we can also ask, what do you feel about this? Is this my real internal realization, or is it a speculation? So he went also to his guru and asked him, my God, this happened. Is this really true? Was it a dream? But he said, yes, it is true. Your name is Champaka Manjari, and your service, one of your services, is to make milk or stir, like they say, stir the milk. So what I was thinking, it was very interesting. What I also was asking Gurudev last week, but he had no voice at that time. He attained Bhajan Siddhi, and still he was learning all the scriptures from Sri Jiva Goswami. Sometimes we think when somebody has siddhis, they don't need to learn anything anymore. But this is not true, because he was prepared for his services that were going to happen in the future. He was supposed to become an acharya in our Bhakti line. So he was studying Srimad Bhagavatam and even the 6 Sandarbhas, Rupa Goswami's dramas, and other of his books. Sri Sanatana Goswami's Brihad Bhagavatamrita, and other Rasa and Siddhanta scriptures from Jiva Goswami Pad. And Jiva Goswami saw that he was such a special student. Everything came to him easy. And why? Because after all, he was the object of the personal grace of Mahaprabhu and Sri Vishabhanunandini. And thereafter, he got the title Thakur Mahashai. Now, sometimes we hear Narottam Das Thakur Mahashai, and Thakur is a very honorable address, no? Like, for example, Gurudev gave the address Maharaj to Jayananda Maharaj. So, Maharaj means king, and sometimes also Maharaj is used for someone who is very learned and who is a great teacher. So we get sometimes titles, most of the time stupid, but that is also a blessing. When we get chastisement, when we get corrections, that is also good. It's no bad, or, it's no good or bad in the spiritual sense. All that we get, all the attention, all the guidance that we get is good for our little selves. So after that, he went on Braja Parikrama to Bengal. And then, after that, they were sent on a big, big journey. That is already a very amazing event in itself. So Jiva Goswami Pad ordered him to do Braj Mandala Parikrama with Srinivas Acharya and Raghava Pandit. Raghava Pandit is an associate of Lord Gauranga who lived in a cave in Govardhan Hill. You see, they all had different characteristics and personalities. And it was not that all were preachers. Many also were living in seclusion and doing service in their mind, manasi seva or bhajan. This is the same. This is described very elaborately in the fifth wave of the scripture Bhakti Ratnakar. So sometimes when we like to hear about our, so to say, forefathers, our Guru Parampara, in this case, there are scriptures, or like they were notes that Vaishnava took, that small Vaishnavas took, that were not so popular, but they write the history of that life of these great followers of the Goswamis. So we could say that Narottam Das Thakur, Shyamananda Pandit, and Srinivasacharya are the successors of the Goswamis of Vrindavan. And that is in itself a very special service and special souls. Everything in their life was, so to say, arranged by Nitai and Gauranga. So now Baba is also explaining. I don't know if this is actually Baba's history or if they had it saw somewhere else. The history of the life of Narottam. He is now writing a little bit about the relationship and also the miracle of the friend, one of his closest friend. His name is Dukhi, Krishna Dukhi. He came also from Bengal, and he was also an extraordinary child from birth, learning scriptures very well and being able to recite verses or stories. And he came also to Vrindavan to learn, because at that time all the special souls that took birth, they were guided to Vrindavan to learn from Jiva Goswami, who had heard about Rupa Goswami, or not heard, who had lived with them. So nowadays also we wish to have association with those who are very close with very exalted Vaishnavas. And why was Shyamananda or Krishna Dukhi? That was his first name that he got from his teacher in Bengal. He was so special because also he was in his meditation sweeping the kunj, or not only in his meditation. Actually, I have heard many times he was really sweeping the kunj, and then he found ankle bell ornaments. And when he only saw these ornaments, he was falling, fainting. Ecstasy overcame his whole body, and he fell down in the dust of Vrindavan. And then it was a whole story in itself that maybe today is too long, but it's a special event that he got the foot ankle bells from Srimati Radhika. He found them after she had danced there. And Srimati Radhika and Lalita tried some tricks to get them back from him, but he felt that these were spiritual ornaments. So he thought the owner should come and get them themselves. Lalita tried to hide herself, like trying to come like an old lady and making a story that my daughter-in-law lost some ornaments. But yeah, it's a big event. And in Vrindavan, there is one temple actually in downtown Vrindavan. It's dedicated to Shyamananda Pandit or Shyamananda. And the deities there, they are all, I think, coming from the old Goswamis worship and background. So these three, they became inseparable friends. Jiva Goswami was having a special order for them. The residents of Sri Vrindavan, headed by Shripad Jiva Goswami, thought of having the many large jewel-like books written by Sri Rupa, Sanatana and Sri Jiva, preached in Bengal by Jiva's qualified pupils, Srinivas, Narottam, and Shyamananda. So we see also this is happening today. Those who are very qualified, they can be with Gurudev in Vrindavan, like our dear Jayananda Maharaj and others. And they are also taking up the knowledge, the feelings of these rasa literatures, and then they go other places and distribute them to the devotees who cannot come so often. At that time, Nitai and Gauranga were in Gauradesh, or in Jagannath Puri, and also in Nilach, Navadvip, or Mayapur nowadays. They were speaking there, living there, but those who were living there with them, they did not hear so much about the rasa realizations of Rupa Goswami or Sanatan Goswami. They had the life history and the life feelings of Nitai and Gauranga, but they were very eager to listen to the realizations of Rupa Goswami about Bhakti Ras, about the deep realizations of who is Nitai and who is Gauranga. So they had written down on leaf papers. At that time, there was no printing press, nothing to be shared like nowadays. Oh, you look in your computer and quickly you can get the copy. At that time, everything was handwritten. So it was a treasure. These handwritten palm leaf, letters or also books, they were very, very precious. So Jiva Goswami ordered the Narottam Das Thakur and Jiva and Shyamananda and also Srinivasacharya to please go out on Sankirtan. That's what we said maybe 30 years ago. Because at that time we were also so lucky to be in the book distribution services of especially Srila Prabhupada. But they were in another service, of course. They had a bullock cart, which was, I think, maybe horses or bulls, I don't know. And there were some guards with them. I read here 10 guards, and they walking by foot down to Bengal. Because all of the Bengali devotees, they need to hear about a realization of Rupa Goswami, right? They were in love with Nitai Gauranga, and they had the blessings, and they wanted to have some knowledge that would all of them unite in the same understanding of Bhakti Ras. This was Rupa Goswami's service. Chaitanya, he ordered him, he empowered him, not ordered. He empowered him, he gave him the blessings to receive Bhakti Ras in his heart and to express. Because she is Rupa Manjari. She is non-different from the beautiful form and feelings of Srimati Radhika. So she can also share like this. So when they were going with the huge treasury of the jewel-like books packed in huge boxes and loaded on 4 bullock carts, guarded by 10 men, Jiva Goswami dispatched or sent Srinivas, Narottam, and Shyamananda to Bengal. You can imagine they were maybe going for 2-3 months. Nowadays we can go by a train in 2 nights, but it's a big trip, about maybe 2,000 kilometers, or 2,000, 3,000. And at the journey's end, when they reached Ban Vishnupur, it is a kingdom. There was the soldiers of the King Birambir of Van Vishnupur, who had at that time a bandit mentality, the king. The king had the bandit mentality. He wanted to steal treasures. And he sent out his people. So like the opposite of Robin Hood, a king who want to steal more at that time. Because one astrologer had told the king, there will be a big treasure coming to your kingdom. And so he sent out his soldiers to look for the big treasure. And the soldiers, they saw this bullock cart and covered and, beautiful cows or bulls from Vrindavan and some holy men lying there. They thought, oh, this must be the treasure coming from Vrindavan. When Srinivas, Narottam, and Shyamananda woke up the next morning and found the bullock cart with the books had disappeared, they rolled on the ground and are weeping out of anguish, means out of sorrow, out of, I don't know, they were just, how do you say this in English? Ruined. They felt destroyed. They were almost there in Bengal. And then somebody stole the books, the whole bullock cart. So they were crying. Finally, they heard a divine song, a divine voice saying, you will get the books at the court of the king of Vishnupur. So see, they were guided. It must be no other voice than the voice of Srimati Radhika or Nittai. In the meantime, the king Birambir had been purified by seeing the books and the boxes. Simply by seeing the wonderful books after emptying the boxes in private, he became repentant. He felt so sorry and eager to meet the authors of the book. So he saw the books and he became purified. That was so inspiring to read, because at that time, maybe 20 years ago, when we were distributing Srila Prabhupada's books, we had the same inspiration. Sometimes the people didn't want the books with Krishna in front, or Radha and Krishna, or Balaram and Krishna, no? The Krishna book. But we try to encourage them. Oh, just take them home, put them in your bookshelf. They will bring you good luck. That was a very nice feeling also. And it was a feeling that we really had inside our hearts. We knew that these books were so powerful. They will change the people's lives. Why? Because these books are the vibration from the pure Vaishnavas' hands and hearts. And that has a great, great power. That's why we are continuously reading Shri Shri Vilapa Kusmanjali, or Shri Shri Radha Rasa Suniti, or Prema Bhakti Candrika. Because these books, they come from the hand or from the heart, from the voice of our dear Nitya Siddha Manjaris. And these vibrations are changing, our mentality to steal, like this king. He was a king. Maybe his kingdom was in problems. I don't know why he was stealing. Usually the king is supposed to give. The king should give to the citizens. But he was stealing. But also this time, he was stealing the right thing. So when Srinivas Acharya came to his kingdom, he started reciting Srimad Bhagavatam. And that king was so touched in his heart. He had been so purified by seeing the handwritings of Srila Rupa Goswami Pad, of Rupa Manjari, so that he wanted to get become his disciple. So simply by seeing the wonderful books, after emptying the boxes in private, he became very sorry and eager to meet the authors of the book. Srinivas Acharya Prabhu bestowed his mercy on the king of Vishnupur. His name was Sri Krishna Vallabh, and he entered the royal assembly in his company. When King Birambir heard the wonderful explanation of Brahmaragit. That is one part of Srimad Bhagavatam, where Srimati Radhika is talking to a bee when she is in her ecstasies. And she is talking to the bee like it is Krishna. So when he heard this, he became so overwhelmed and surrendered himself to the lotus feet of Srinivas Acharya. So this Acharya Prabhu, they call him here, made the king his disciple, took the jewel-like books back, and arrived in Yajigram and sent the good news to Sri Vrindavan. So everyone was happy, right? Because the books, they had made an own, first kind of preaching event. The books, they went to the kingdom, and then the king, he was so touched that he could not resist when the Vaishnavas, all those, hidden dasis of Srimati Radhika, they come there and they give blessings. And, later on, the king made his whole kingdom chant and become Vaishnavas. So we can see the power of these beautiful life stories. When we hear them, I develop my respects and my heart attachment from the book of Narottam Das Thakur, or the book of all the translations of Srila Prabhupada, all other books of our great Vaishnava teachers who were inspired by Srimati Radhika in the end to share the feelings of her sweetness. And who else but her own dasis can share the sweetness of the feelings of Srimati Radhika in such a way? As we remember, and Gurudev is also like stressing us to realize the latest weeks, before Mahaprabhu, most devotion that anybody practiced came to the limit of Sakhi Bhav or Gopi Bhav. That means they wanted to worship Krishna like a gopi, to fall in love with God. That is also very, very nice. That is also great. But now, by the mercy of Gauranga, by the mercy of Srimati Radhika, of Ananga Manjari, we can learn how to fall in love with Srimati Radhika. And this was all secretly in the books, or is, not was, at that time. And we see that king, he heard, from the lips of Srinivas Acharya. Maybe we don't know so much about Srinivas Acharya, but most of us, we know the Samsara song. All his feelings are in that. Samsara dava narira loka tranaya karunya ganaganatma. So this we have been singing or hearing a lot of times in our lives, and we know that the verses in there that are directly pointing Shiradika Madhavaya Para Madhuyalila Gunarupanam. So we know that our, four, let's say, ancestors of spiritual realizations, all the dasis that came after Rupa Manjari, Sanata, Lavanga Manjari, and also Vinod Manjari, who is Jiva Goswami. So all of them, they gave their love and their feelings into their books and into their disciples. Power to, give feelings. Why was this king stealing? We could try to analyze it from a psychological point of view. Why do we steal? Because we feel something is missing. I want more. There is some greed behind it. But now the king, he was blessed by the darshan and the touch of the books of the Goswamis. And then what happens? he becomes fulfilled. He doesn't need to steal anymore. So that is also a beautiful meditation. That this feeling to greed will transform into a pure desire to serve. And then hearing the Brahmaragit, that sweet talk of our dear Swamini with the bumblebee. So, amazing how she talks to that bee, and she talks and chastises that bee to be like her beloved. She is in separation mood, and she says, why are you coming here? You need to go to another lover who can make you more happy. Don't pretend. She is in that Manini, She has a little bit of anger and a little bit of naughtiness. She is in Vamyabhav. She is, even towards the bumblebee. She is speaking too. So it's a very heart-touching, deep feeling story of Srimati Radhika. And who can reveal her feelings? I mean, when I was reading it in Srimad Bhagavat, then I thought, that's also sweet. That's sweet. Yes, it is sweet. But how deep it is can only be revealed by the manjaris who are also in that vibration, who can feel Srimati Radhika and who can serve her by, different services. But they had also this service, like Narottam Das Thakur, to go to the country of their birth, where they took birth on this planet Earth, and distribute the details of Bhakti Ras to all the Vaishnavas. So I find it very interesting that Narottam Das Thakur, although he was already Siddhi, Bhajan Siddhi, it was with him. He had realizations. He was seeing himself in his spiritual senses and serving in his spiritual senses. But still, he did that service that came further and further and further. He was not only sitting at home in his meditation. He was distributing the books of the Goswamis and sharing, of course, his feelings, her feelings, who became more and more deep in the service of Srimati Radhika in Nitya Lila. And then Narottam Das Thakur Mahashoy saw the playground of Sri Gaura, Sri Navadvip Mandala, and the playgrounds of Sri Gaura's associates circumambulated them and had the darshan of all those associates of Sri Gaura who were still manifest at that time. After that, he proceeded to Nilachala, where he saw Sri Gauranga's playground in Sri Kshetra Mandala and the playgrounds of the Lord's associate before he returned to Keturi. Keturi was the village where he was born. The return of Srila Thakur Mahashoy Narottam Das Thakur, who is the embodiment of Prema, sparked off a sweet and loud sankirtan with Midangas and Karatala. Narottam Das Thakur, Srila Thakur Mahashoy, then promulgated the musical mode named Garanahati. So that is also speciality of Narottam Das Thakur. We know all the special songs, Radha Krishna Prana Mara Yugala Kishore O Shri Gauranga Bolite Habe Pulaka Sharira. So many, many beautiful songs are there that have been touching our hearts, and we also see our Gurudevas, how they are melting with these songs, because they give them the feelings of their bhajan and the separation feelings to Gauranga and to Srimati Radhika. And he was very special, famous, Narottam, for making a musical mode named Garanahati, very popular. And if you go to Vrindavan nowadays, there are still very talented musicians who can sing in the same mode, in the same feelings. His newly composed Sankirtan songs had new ragas and raginis, and the feelings they incited were new, and the sweet sound of his voice, that was sweeter than the voices of the Gandharva angels, caused a wonderful deluge of sweet rasa to flow. So we can imagine who is singing here. It's the Manjari of Srimati Radhika Edasi. And she is putting all of her feelings in these songs, and it became like a new flow of feelings that everyone was becoming mad after hearing them. Because maybe they have never heard it from the heart of someone who is, realized in their bhajan, in their spiritual identity. And so they became very, very, touched by it. It was as if the flavors of Shri Nitai Gauranga's Nama Sankirtan arises in a personified form. So this is the perfection, right? They hear the song, they hear the vibration, and they become so touched by it that they can feel that Nitai and Gauranga are appearing in a new form, in the form of Narottam das Thakur. So that is very special. And we know, if we remember the beginning of the history, that he was becoming spiritualized. I mean, we cannot speak like this about the eternally liberated souls. But from the point of a sadhaka, we can say that when Narottam was coming to take his bath in this river, Padma, then this river Padma gave all the Prema liquids that she had stored from the meeting with Nitai and Gauranga to him. She flooded him with Prema. And that in itself is already a mystical, transformation. And the scriptures or the histories say that after that, his color of body changed, his voice changed, and his whole, he became completely crazy in divine love. So now, after maybe, some years, he came back to his village, and he's pouring all of these feelings through his songs. And that is very, very special, because the listeners will also have some particles of this divine love, come into the ears. That is the blessing of listening Siddha Kirtan. There's Siddha Katha, maybe someone who speaks who is very realized. But any kind of realization a soul has will come through the voices. And that's why nowadays, when Gurudev is not speaking so much in the Zooms, we try to catch his voice at least once every time, or, we have to have a little bit this feeling also. I need to listen some drops of Gurudev's mercy so that we can also be purified by these vibrations. But of course, Gurudev is very merciful. He has become now like Jiva Goswami, training the students in the scriptures, but not in a very dry way, but giving feelings. He's doing that. And that's why he's speaking less. But if you want to listen, Gurudev, very deeply, you can come to the morning classes. There he is speaking a lot. But of course, these morning classes in Vrindavan, In our European countries, it is at 2 o'clock in the morning. But the Japanese devotees, they are very lucky. Brajavilasini is very lucky because for them it is a time in the day, and if they don't have to work, if they have some free time, they can listen. So, but we are lucky these things are also recorded. But of course, we all know recording voices are not the same like a live voice. So we need to sit in the shower of those self-realized souls who are living in their spiritual bodies and listen their katha and listen also their sweet singing. Like Narottam Das Thakur, he was living us all these ragas and raginis, and newly composed means coming from his heart. And this is a very big blessing. It was as if the flavors of Shri Gaura, Gauranga, or Radha Mohan's Nama Sankirtan arose in a personified form. So that was manifesting the feelings, not only the feelings, but even the impression of Nitai Gauranga's beautiful form. And one of the commentaries of someone who has listened to that, it is a contemporary, also like a fellow songwriter, Srila Govinda Das Kaviraj Mahashai has sung about Narottam Das Thakur's glories. And he says, all glories to Thakur Narottam, the great king of loving devotion, whose counselor was Ramachandra Kaviraj, who was none different from him. His Prema was the crown jewel of all the ornamental symptoms of ecstasy he showed on his body. He sat on the throne of the kingdom of Keturi in the company of his assembled devotees. Every day he discussed the scriptures compiled by Sri Sanatana and Rupa Goswami that contain the splendid amorous flavors of Sri Radha and Mohan, and that are the essence of topmost ecstasy. In the ecstasy of Sri Sankirtana, he did not know what was pious and what was impious. Yoga, charity, vows, and other kinds of piety fled far away, while fruitive activities and non-dualistic knowledge were weeping. That is already, like how you say, a sentence that is very deep. I will read it again. In the ecstasy of Sri Sankirtana, he did not know what was pious and what was impious. Means Sri Sankirtana means the glorification of Srimati Radhika. He became completely beyond the material existence. He was in his bath, we say, in his bath to Bhavamai Radhi. So he did not know what was pious and impious anymore. And all those external, good works like yoga, doing asanas to keep the body fit, charity to give to good by helping others, vows, to keep on a certain kind of sadhana, and other kinds of piety fled far away. Because this kind of expression of a pious or good soul did not have anything to do with his, siddha personality anymore. He can do them, but he is not depending on them. While fruitive and non-dualistic knowledge were weeping. That is also funny. Because this, what he did, his singing and his expressions of love in his spiritual identity of a Manjari to Dasi, to Srimati Radhika, has nothing to do with fruitive activities or even non-dualistic knowledge. They were not, could not reach him anymore. All these external expressions of religion were not, he was far beyond them. They could not touch his purity of his singing or speaking. And that is so great. He upheld the honor of those theistic scriptures that bestow the treasure of devotion. He was only giving devotion, and the scriptures who are dealing with devotion, they were honored by his devotion or his expressions. And Sankhya, Mimamsa, Kataka, and other speculative philosophies trembled when they saw his might. different other philosophies, they also became ecstatic, or they run away. The thief-like non-devotees fled far away, unable to shine their light in his closeness. He gave the treasure of devotion to lowly and fallen fellows, and Govinda Das covets the same. Jai Narottam Das Thakur Mahashai ki Jai. So this was a song. These were some verses that Govinda Das was writing about him. So that is a lot for today, a lot of meditation. And if you want to read it again, you can read it in the introduction of Prema Bhakti Candrika. Shri Prema Bhakti Candrika. Anybody would like to share on this? We have 10 more minutes, or Sundaram, 10 more minutes. Maybe our Radha Charan, you know all the history of Narottam Das Thakur.
Radha, could you hear me?
Yes.
I couldn't say what I know all stories of Narottam Das Thakur, but this story is one of the favorites. I heard this story first time in 93. I still remember this time. It was springtime. I was in Sankirtan with group of Sankirtan. We traveled through different cities and distribute books. And two group of Sankirtan meet each other in one place. And I heard in this meeting this story. And that time we have not in Russian so much books. No Chaitanya Charitamrita, for example. No books about Narottam Thakur. And this story inspired me so much. As a result, I got desire to read Chaitanya Charitamrita. But it wasn't possible in that time. What I remember in this story was interesting moment. Then Shimananda, it's now actually about Shimananda because you mentioned also him. Then Shimananda found these Nupur ankle bells of Srimati Radhika. And Lalita came. She was in other form with someone, and I remember with whom. I thought with Vishaka. Because they spoke about their girlfriends. Srimati Radhika wasn't there. And then Shimananda is understood who are they, because Lalita is actually I am Lalita. And he requested her, please give me your darshan. And she answered, oh, it's not possible. Why? Because if I will show you, you will die. You could not tolerate this. So much emotions will be so strong. And he answered to her, by your mercy, everything is possible. And she gave him darshan. He lost consciousness, but not died. This means it's one of the, this is evident, historic evidence of one statement from Bhakti Rakshakshidhar Goswami Maharaj. He told, the greatest couldn't be greatest if could not give himself to the smallest.
What? Can you repeat this and explain?
Shilshidhar Maharaj told, the greatest couldn't be such, means so great, if could not give himself or herself to the smallest, to the insignificant. And
yes.
one more,
Otherwise, it's not the greatest.
Yes, otherwise he is not the greatest, says Gaura Sunna, who is also listening. Yes, that's like what we have heard, that how Krishna can be the greatest and the smallest. And also how Lalita, she says, it is not possible to show my spiritual form to you. But Narottam Das Thakur, he was so full of faith, he said, you can make it possible. And if I have to die like this, okay, good, because I'm eternal anyway. I'm a Dasi of Srimati Radhika. He was fearless, no? No, it was not Narottam Das Thakur. It was Shyamananda Pandit, of course.
one interesting also episode in the story of Narottam Thakur, maybe you not came to this point, how his guru Lokanath Goswami sent him for preaching. Externally, you told 3 persons was sent by Jiva Goswami and other senior Vaishnavas of Vrindavana. Narottam, Srinivas, and Shimanda, 3 persons. I heard from Narayana Goswami Maharaj separately about his story, how he lived in his cottage, close to the cottage of his guru, on the bank of one small lake in Candrika. And once local, farmer,
Villager.
who is working in the land.
Yes, farmer.
Yeah. He came to Lokanath Goswami and requested water because of it was hot and he was thirsty. But Lokanath Goswami was completely absorbed in his bhajan. He could not hear. He was in trance. And then this person requested Narottam Thakur. And Narottam Thakur took out his japa and brought him water and gave him this water. And this person happily gone. After Lokanath Goswami came to the external consciousness after trance, he understood what's happened. And he told to his disciple, you are not qualified to stay here in Vrindavan because you prefer to serve ordinary person. You, by chanting Harinam, serving Radha Krishna personally, directly. And you prefer to left service to them for the service of someone here. This is better if you return your village and will preach such personalities where. Give them mercy. Externally, Narayana Goswami Maharaj told, externally seems what Lokanath Goswami is kick out Narottam Thakur from his association and from Vrindavan. But he told, actually it's not. This guru and disciple has heart relationship, very close, so much faith, so much attachment to each other. And then Lokanath Goswami realized the nature, merciful, compassionate nature of his disciple, what for him it's not good to live in Vrindavan. For him is better, according to his nature, to travel and give mercy to others. Then he spoke with harsh words because he knows his disciple loves him so much he will not go himself. In this way, Lokanath Goswami, who did bhajan with Narottam Thakur, for him he gave great donation to the world in form of Narottam Thakur. It was explanation of Narayana Goswami Maharaj about this situation.
Yes, thank you for sharing. That's beautiful. So we know that the different arrangements in the Vaishnavas' lives can never be judged from external side. It is a deep arrangement actually by Gauranga and Nityananda themselves that Guru says, go out. You give water to a farmer, you have to share, you have to go out. So it all has different hidden levels of mercy, right? That's a beautiful story. So thank you all very much for coming and sharing, listening to the life story of Narottam. Das Thakur ki jai.
Radhe Radhe Go